And next, we will move on to the interesting part of this interactive session, the rapid fire part. We'll series a picture to share your thoughts or experience in relations with it. Shall we start? Yeah. So this is the first picture.
Mm-hmm. So this is I have to react on it, or I have
yeah. You have to talk about your experience or whatever viewpoint you have about the picture.
Okay, so I actually built the prototype myself because I love to work timber in my atelier, in my studio, and I have actually built it in my free time. So what you see here, of course, is not what I built. What I built is still in my apartment, so the prototype is still there. I built it in plywood, so I'm very coherent with the ecological factors. So I did not use any massive wood to build the prototype, and the influence here is very strongly the modernist architecture, Brazilian architecture, as you can see. From Oscar Niemeyer, again, a very architectural approach. Even in when I do design objects or design my design objects, it's quite obvious that the influence comes from architecture, and hopefully, I mean, this is a design piece that is sold very well at the moment, so I'm very happy about this object as well. It's really sort of mind-blowing for me. I mean, as a trained architect, that also my design objects sort of find likings, and even on Pinterest and Tumblr, Instagram, whatnot. It was even a little bit maybe overexposed, but at the same time, that's how things are. When people grasp what they like, so it's sort of like, it's like the tree thing, it's exponential, the exposition. But again, I'm very happy that it works, that people find liking in it. It's a very sculptural object.
Over to the next picture.
Oh, I love that one. I was like, I don't know if did you find it in my way back in my Instagram? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we were probing launch.
Wow, that's an oldie but a goodie, as I would say. Yes, I really love it. What to say? It's very visceral. It's a very visceral image. It's an image that I tend to show to my students very often. Talking about inserting yourself in a context. So the sand here, it's almost like an artistic intervention, but it's actually real. So that's what I don't tell my students. So again, I ask them what they would think about it. It's kind of funny that I'm not able to sort of contextualize or conceptualize it instantly. But for me, it's like a hyperposition or a superimposition of two very strong elements. A historical context, or a very strong context that has an event happening. In this case, of course, it's an event that nature made happen, and how the space then literally changes. So the door that would be normally a walk-through door becomes too small to actually walk through, and like that, it becomes so tiny, and the initial context is so harshly twisted around that you have something that is apparently has a function, but it doesn't have that function anymore. So it is very, very a very aggressive sort of superimposition on the original architecture. Of course, when you do an interior project, that's not what you should do. When you do a project, let's say, that is rather an artistic intervention, then it's something that you would do. And in fact, there is Olafur Eliasson, who is a very famous artist, who did a very similar intervention in a gallery. So he would rip out the floor and create a landscape within that floor so you could walk on it. There was even like a small river floating inside that landscape. So he created he twisted completely the original context and then produced something new. So I would say it is perfectly coherent with the whole speech that I've done today.
Yeah.
Actually, it's quite interesting that, we got back the question back to you.
I compliment you on the choice of the image.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
Thank you so much. Over to the next one.
And over to the last picture.
Mm-hmm. Also very interesting. It speaks a bit the same language. So here, it is almost, that is also interesting. Even if I said before that you have to relate, that you have to sort of, these two objects, they're absolutely contradictory compared, and there are a lot of artists who work like that. In Marfa, Texas, there are a lot of these objects floating around deserts and really interesting naturalistic contexts. So even though I said before, you always have to work within the context. This is like a contradiction, but contradiction is good if it is thought out. So this is one of those contradictory elements that can make you rethink context, naturalistic context. So it's absolutely nature against technology, naturalistic versus not naturalistic in a way. And as I said, there are a couple of artists who do really, really interesting work. One would be Dwayne Johnson, for instance. Another one would be, I cannot recall the artist right now. I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm getting older, so maybe you have it right away. The artist who did this intervention. It's actually very interesting. I'm not even sure if it's a rendering or if it's a real object. I think it's a real object. I usually tend to not post rendering. This is also something I posted quite some time ago. Also very interesting.
So I guess we're all near the end of the session. So thank you so much. I think it was a brilliant experience.